This is the Grow Your Clinic podcast from Clinic Mastery. We help progressive health professionals to lead inspired teams, transform client experiences, and build clinics for good. Now, it's time to grow your clinic.
To another episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast. As always, my name is Jack O'Brien, your host, and listeners, thank you again for entrusting us with the next 30 minutes or so of your time. We never want to take that for granted and hope you get plenty out of today. Actually, I know you'll get heaps out of today. We have a guest that I've been looking forward to having on the podcast for, I think, a number of months now. I'm a user of his products, and this is going to be a massively insightful episode. So we have James Swanwick, the founder of Swanwick Sleep, which helps with blue light blocking glasses for entrepreneurs and people who spend a lot of time on screens. He's also the director of Project 90, helping people quit alcohol. James Swanwick, welcome to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. How are you, mate?
Jack, I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. Now, we have a lot to unpack today, but before we do, I've got a couple of icebreaker questions. Are you ready?
I am ready. Fire away.
All right, rapid fire. Number one, what are you reading or learning right now?
Reading a book called The 12 Principles of Life by Jordan Peterson, the Canadian psychologist. And I've been listening to an amazing podcast called Best Book Bits, which summarizes all of the top non-fiction self-development books in about 15 or 20 minutes. And so I've been firing through those. It makes me seem a lot smarter than I actually am at dinner conversations when I can cite all of these wonderful books.
Okay, nice. I'll have to get on to that. As a podcast, is it?
Yeah, it's a podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can also go to bestbookbits.com.
Yeah, right. That's a good little tip. I'll get on to that. Number two, who inspires you?
Well, I'll give you a famous person, a famous celebrity, and then someone else. So John Bon Jovi, the rock star. The first concert I ever went to was Bon Jovi in 1987 at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, and I've been a Bon Jovi fan ever since. And I've watched him get married to his childhood sweetheart and have 4 children and give to charities and do what he loves. And he's very healthy and health conscious. And so there's just a lot to be inspired by him. That's kind of like my celebrity crush. And then who inspires me really is probably my partner, Juliana, who is so growth-minded and conscious and is always practicing amazing relationships and connecting and being in integrity and honest. So she's a great role model for me.
That's awesome, mate. Love it. Number 3, what did you want to be growing up?
I remember saying I wanted to be a lawyer, but not really understanding what being a lawyer meant. And I do remember wanting to be a television host.
Like, how far back do you remember that?
I was probably like 10, 11, 12, and then my mother would bring home this old VHS camera every summer holiday, and I would dress up and pretend to be a news anchor. And there's footage of me on YouTube, actually, of me as a 15-year-old pretending to be a news anchor. And 20 years after I recorded that, I actually became a sports anchor on a TV show in America called Sports Center on ESPN. Yeah, so it was kind of cool to wanting to be that growing up and then actually having that happen. That was kind of cool.
That is super. I love it. Finally, mate, what's a motto you live by?
Just do it and do it now. It's actually 2 mottos. Just do it is like the Nike slogan, and then do it now is just whatever. 6 words, very powerful.
Just a little known show, right? All right, James. So usually what happens now is I take the childhood dream and the current reality, and they're kind of different, and try and connect the dots. But you went from being the kid that wanted to be the news anchor to hosting ESPN Sports Center. So tell us what that journey looked like to get from the VHS at home through to anchor on Sports Center.
Yeah, well, when I finished high school in Brisbane, I got a cadet journalist position at the Courier Mail newspaper in Brisbane, and I did that for about 6 years from age 17 to 23. And then when I was 23, I moved over to London, as most Australian backpacker types like to do, moved there in 99 just as Australia won the Cricket World Cup and the Rugby World Cup. And I was lucky enough to get a job at skysports.com as a website, sports journalist there. And then I made a big mistake and fell in love with a British woman who broke up with me. And then I said, just got to get out of this country. And so I ended up flying to Los Angeles, California for no reason other than I wanted to get away from my heartbreak in London. And I ended up figuring out how to stay there. I interviewed movie stars as a Hollywood reporter for a couple of years. And then in 2010, a friend of mine said, hey, ESPN is looking for an international anchor for SportsCenter. And I thought you'd be good for it. And I had no TV experience, but I said, yeah, I'll audition. And so I auditioned and I got the gig, and I did that from 2010 through 2012. It was a childhood dream come true.
That is unreal. What are some highlights of that?
I got to hang out with Magic Johnson, the famous basketball NBA player. I had dinner with him in the ESPN cafeteria one night and asked him all about success, which was really fascinating. I got to interview people like Tom Brady and David Beckham, Caroline Wozniacki, who was the number one tennis player in the world at the time, and a few other things. It was just wonderful to live just outside of New York and to be covering sports on TV and having fun doing it. It was wonderful.
What a dream. So I'm curious then, you've now transitioned into being a fairly successful entrepreneur and working with entrepreneurs in different realms through Swanwick Sleep and now through Project 90. So connect those dots. How does one go from being a news anchor to an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, I remember in the second year that I was doing that job at ESPN, my shift wouldn't start until 6 p.m. at night because SportsCenter airs on TV around 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. some nights as well. It's a late night kind of like cable news sports program. So I have all these hours during the day to do something. I just had nothing to do. I kind of had long-term vision in the sense that I really knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and build my own business. And as much as I loved the job at ESPN, it was still a job where I had a boss. I still had to check, clock in at time. I still had to get out. So what I would do is during those hours during the day, as I was waiting to go and start for work, I'd study video sales letters, like VSLs. There was a program that was on the market at the time called The Truth About Abs by, what was his name? Eric Cleary. I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up while I'm talking. But anyway, I would just study this video sales letter and I learned all about online marketing. And until I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to have a job anymore. I want to go out and give this a shot. And I was very interested in health and wellness at the time and still am. So I ended up leaving ESPN and going out on my own as an entrepreneur and absolutely bombed, completely failed at it. For about a year and a half, I struggled. I barely made any money. I was in my mid-30s. In 2013, I probably had about $15,000 in income that year as a mid-30s man, which wasn't very good. And I'd gone from the heights of SportsCenter on ESPN to really, struggling. And I ended up hiring a mentor, a guy by the name of Ty Lopez, who's pretty well known. And I paid him 25,000 American dollars, which is 32,500 Australian dollars, to mentor me for 18 months, which he did. And then I created these two businesses in 2015, which was the program called the 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge, which helps people quit drinking for 30 days. And that would later turn into what I have now, which is Project 90, which helps mostly six-figure entrepreneurs, top professionals, business owners to quit drinking so they can achieve much higher performance. And then Swanwick Sleep, which is the creator of these blue light blocking glasses, which you and I are both wearing at the moment. So, from TV anchor to business, it was kind of like just knowing I didn't want a job. I wanted to control my own outcome. I was interested in health and wellness. I hired a mentor to show me how to build a business. I did what he said. I created those businesses, and now 5 years later, they're seven-figure businesses and continuing to grow each year. So
that's awesome. So where did that interest in specifically sleep come from? I think I can see an Oura ring on your finger and the blue light blocking glasses. I'm assuming, shift starting at 6 p.m. and you're living in New York, sleep probably wasn't a huge priority, or at least in the nocturnal hours. Where did it all come from?
Yeah, my sleep was always okay. It wasn't terrific. It wasn't horrible. It was just okay. I was in Palm Springs in a hotel restaurant with a friend of mine, and we sat down to dinner. It was quite a nice hotel restaurant. He was wearing a pair of really ugly orange lensed safety goggles to dinner. And there was a table of quite attractive women adjacent to us, and they were giggling at him wearing these ridiculous glasses. And I said to him, I said, mate, you look ridiculous and you make me look ridiculous by association. Anyway, he said, no, man, I'm trying to block the blue light. And I said, block the blue light? What are you talking about? And he went on to explain that light that comes out of bedroom lights, kitchen lights, microwave lights, street lights, refrigerator lights, all of these artificial lights at night, when we stare at them with our eyes, it compromises our body's ability to produce melatonin. It actually suppresses our melatonin production. It stimulates our pineal and pituitary glands, which compromise our sleep quality. I believed him because he was very health conscious. He was fit and terrific. So I went back to LA and I dug into my cupboard and I pulled out an old pair of ski goggles that I used to wear every year when I went to the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. Mm-hmm. And I put these goggles on with the kind of like a yellow lens on them, and I started watching reruns of this TV series called Mad Men on AMC. And what I found was when I was watching the show on my laptop computer while wearing ski goggles, I did noticeably feel sleepier quicker.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when I finally removed the goggles, I would roll over and fall asleep quicker. And when I woke up in the morning, I would go, I actually feel more refreshed. And that was really when the idea came to me. It's like, well, I don't want to look like a meth chemist while wearing a pair of orange ski goggles or safety goggles. I'm just vain enough that I want to look cool and stylish while I'm protecting my eyes from blue light. And so that was where the idea for a stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses came to me. And then, 5 years later, here we are. You're looking very stylish, Jack. You're wearing a pair of my Swannies daytime clear lens blue light blocking glasses, and I'm wearing a pair of the Top Gun Maverick Aviator blue light blocking glasses. We're rocking them.
We are, mate. And it's quite a similar story for me. I went to an event. Some of our mutual friends, Shane and Angie Saunders, were there wearing these pretty slick orange-looking blue light glasses, and I thought this must be a gimmick. Found a pair of the safety glasses, not too dissimilar to your ski goggles, and I found myself falling asleep watching the footy. Just couldn't keep my eyes open after wearing these things for a couple of hours, and one thing led to another, and I've got a couple of pairs of Swannies and absolutely love it. So let's speak to that performance and sleep element for business owners. Everyone listening here will be a clinic owner, health professional, generally take pretty good care of their health, but they've often transitioned away from treating patients directly to spending a lot of time in spreadsheets and CRMs and computer screens. How does light impact our sleep, and what impact does that then have on us as entrepreneurs?
Well, if you're not sleeping properly, and by properly I mean if you're not sleeping the way nature intended you to sleep, then in my opinion, you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars on the table.
So how do you know you're not sleeping right, though? Because I thought I was great until I started wearing Swannies.
Yeah. So when you woke up in the morning, how did you feel? How would you rate how you would feel before you were wearing Swannies glasses?
Well, I would have rated myself an 8, 9, 10 out of 10. I thought I was firing on all cylinders because it's all I'd ever known, right?
Yeah. And now you know that you're feeling like an 8 or a 9 or a 10. So you thought you were, but now you know you are. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And did you ever have problems falling asleep? Did you ever toss and turn in the night? Did you ever feel particularly lethargic towards the end of the day?
I've always been one that would sleep 4 or 5 hours. I thought I would fall asleep, wake up, no dreams. All I need was 5 hours, sleep when you're dead. I thought that was all I needed.
Got it. How long do you sleep now?
Now I wear my bio strap and keep a pretty good grip on all the metrics and pretty solidly get 7 to 8 hours most nights.
Okay, and is there a difference in how you feel from when you were sleeping 5 hours to now at 8 hours?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so there's a noticeable improvement compared to when you were sleeping 5 hours and you were just whatever, yes? Okay.
Subjective and objective feel different and the metrics tell me different.
Yeah, got it, okay. Look, everyone's different, right? Like everyone's body type is different, genetics, there's a whole lot of things that come into play. Just out of interest, The president of the United States, Donald Trump, he only sleeps about 4 hours a night. I think Obama slept 6 hours a night. Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, sleeps 7 or 8 hours a night. And then I think Elon Musk, who's pretty unhealthy, I think he sleeps only 3 or 4 hours
on the floor.
Yeah. So look, here's the thing, right? Like Elon Musk owns 2 multi-billion-dollar companies, is probably, best entrepreneur on the planet at the moment, one of the best, and he sleeps terribly, right? And is pretty unhealthy by his own thing. So there's an example of like, well, you can make an argument like, just sleep when you're dead or whatever, and you have massive success. But he doesn't strike me as particularly happy and well-rounded. He has shared that publicly, like he sleeps at the office, he only gets a few hours sleep, he takes some prescription drugs, he's like a bit all over the place. But in general, as a general rule, when you sleep, you replenish the glucose in your brain, you repair your muscles, right? But in terms of a peak performance hack or a peak performance tool, when you sleep the way nature intended you to sleep, you wake up in the morning and throughout the day, you just have clarity and focus and strategy. Your fogginess or your fatigue or your eye strain diminishes, and your ability to be able to handle complex challenges that come up throughout the day increase. I mean, look, if people who are listening here are into health and wellness, they know the benefits of sleep. But do you know the benefits of quality sleep? Like quality sleep, or sleep that the way that nature always intended you to sleep, not the way that the modern man sleeps, the way that nature always intended you to sleep. And that means no artificial blue light at night and getting lots of natural sunlight during the daytime.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, mate. So aside from good quality blue light blocking glasses, Swannies, what are some tools that we can implement to sleep better?
So here's the gold standard, okay? And remember, I didn't make the rules, but I'm just sharing what the rules are. Like whoever you believe upstairs, God, spirit, whatever, he or she made the rules, right? The best thing you can possibly do for your sleep is to literally never use artificial light again and live your life by candlelight. Sure. Like literally, that's the best thing you can do. Having said that, no one's going to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And here's why living your life by candlelight is the best, because there's no artificial light. Now, flame, like fire flame or candle flame, does not compromise melatonin production. That light does not compromise melatonin. It's artificial blue light. You're listening right now on a cell phone or a mobile phone, or you're watching on a laptop or an iPad. That's emitting blue light. I'm staring at you right now into this camera. There's blue light blasting into my eyes. The way that you can sleep the way nature intended you to sleep is build a fire in your backyard, shut off all the lights, and never turn on electricity at nighttime again. Now, like I said, no one's going to do that. So what's the next best thing we can do? Well, at nighttime, the next best thing we can do is wear a pair of blue light blocking glasses at nighttime in the last hour before you go to sleep. Remove them once you've switched off the final light, roll over, you'll sleep much better. Here's what you do first thing in the morning. As soon as you wake up, even before you use the bathroom if you can, go outside, let the natural light hit your skin, get on your face, stand by a window. If it's cold outside, let the sun rays come in, because our skin has receptors on it. And when the sunlight hits our skin, it tells our circadian rhythm, which is our internal body clock, this is wake up time, this is daytime. And your body starts to flood with daytime hormones. Really, really important you do that, because that's actually going to help you sleep later on at night, about 16 hours later, because now your clock knows, that was daytime. So now I know in 14 hours from now, I'm going to start to kind of flood you with some nighttime sleep time hormones, getting you prepared for sleep. But if you stay indoors for the first 2 hours a day and you don't get out and get sunlight, your body's kind of like, is it daytime? Is it nighttime? I don't know.
So where does coffee fit in those first 2 hours?
So first things first with coffee, if you can avoid drinking coffee in the first 30 minutes, that will be huge for you, because the studies have shown that if you drink coffee in the first 30 minutes when you wake up, it actually keeps your cortisol levels very high for longer. Because in the morning when you first wake up, we're actually very high in cortisol, right? We're getting up, etc., daytime hormone. But they've done studies that show that drinking coffee in the first 30 minutes keeps your cortisol levels higher for longer. And that's a stress or fight or flight hormone we don't want a lot of. We want it at certain times, but we don't want it other times. In terms of sleep, studies have shown you should stop sleeping within 8 hours. You should stop drinking coffee within 8 hours of wanting to drink. So if you go to bed at, say, 10 p.m. at night, you want to have your last coffee before 2 p.m.
Yep, got it.
They've also done studies that show if you're going to exercise, you should exercise in the morning. They've done a study that show people who exercise in the morning sleep better overall over the course of a lifetime. And I think it's because of two reasons. One, people who exercise in the morning tend to exercise more as a habit, so they're healthier in general, which is conducive to better sleep. And two, if you exercise close to bedtime, then your core body temperature goes up, and we want our sleep environment to be very cool for optimal sleep. In Fahrenheit, it's 65 degrees to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. In Celsius, it's about, I think it's 18 degrees Celsius. We want our room to be, our sleep environment. So we want it to be cool. And then lastly, I'll put these two together, alcohol and food. I believe that there's zero benefit to any amount of alcohol. Like there's just zero benefit to any alcohol at all. And studies have shown that if you drink alcohol in the last 2 hours before you go to sleep, that will compromise your sleep quality. Okay, so I would just say don't drink within 2 hours of sleep, but if you can, just don't drink it at all. And then food, the same thing. If you eat within 2 hours of bedtime, that has been shown to compromise sleep quality as well, because your body's still working to digest the food, which means you don't spend as long in that deep restorative or REM phase of sleep.
Love it, mate. Thank you for the sleep tips. One final one on sleep, and we'll shoot over to the alcohol conversation, but are all blue light blockers created equal?
No. Here's the explanation for that. So you're wearing a pair of Swannies daytimes with a clear lens. I'm wearing a pair of Swannies nighttimes with an orange lens. My Swannies with the orange lens are the only lenses that you can use to improve your sleep quality, okay? In the known universe that we occupy, you cannot block as much of the artificial blue light responsible for messing with your melatonin production with anything but an orange lens. Your daytime clear lenses ones are great for filtering blue light and for blocking some blue light. And they're wonderful for daytime use on a computer, on a laptop, on a phone. That will actually give you more clarity, focus, and incidentally, will keep your energy levels high or steady throughout the day. So they're awesome. But if you wear those at nighttime while staring at a screen or using a phone, then you're not going to be blocking the wavelength of blue light that's responsible for melatonin production. Okay. So just to sum that up, orange lens, nighttime, clear lens, daytime. Do not believe a lot of the marketing material you see from many blue light blocking glasses companies out there that show a clear lens glass, but then say, been shown to improve sleep. It's a physical impossibility. If they have an orange lens and they're saying helps improve your sleep, great, thumbs up. But if it's a clear lens and they're saying improves sleep, it's physically impossible.
Good tips, mate. And yeah, I love a good bit of geeky research. And in all my research, I found Swanwick to be absolutely the ones that I wanted to wear to help me sleep and perform better. So let's talk about Project 90. So you touched a little bit on alcohol and sleep. I'm not a massive drinker, but I love a good red wine and love the drinking for the taste rather than getting wasted and the hangovers. But talk to us about why you're on the Dry July bandwagon 365.
Well, I was a societally acceptable drinker right up until 2010 when I stopped. And that means I had, a drink or two each night. On weekends, I might have a few. I was drinking a couple beers with the boys, maybe a bottle of wine and romantic, with a romantic partner. I was rarely, if ever, getting drunk. I didn't get arrested. I didn't wake up in a ditch. I wasn't an alcoholic. I was just like, just a normal, acceptable drinker.
Sure.
But 2010, I looked in the mirror one morning and I realized I'd put on about 6-7 kilos that I didn't expect to put on. I wasn't sleeping great. I wasn't eating terrific either. In fact, when I had a couple of drinks, I was more inclined to order dessert or some fries or a kebab on the way home, or, like just some extra stuff. And my skin was dry, and, it was like 6 out of 10. It wasn't rock bottom. Everything was like a blah. I was just like, I'm just kind of drifting along.
Sure.
And so I just committed to taking a 30-day break from alcohol just to see what it would feel like. And in 30 days, I lost 6 kilos. I slept better. I felt better. Right at that time was when my friend said to me, ESPN's looking for people to audition. And I credit being alcohol-free and the clarity that I got from that to actually like helping me get that Sports Center job on ESPN, because with that audition, I really went for it. Like I flew to the other side of the country. I was clear. I slept on it. I thought about it. I trained. Whereas if I was drinking alcohol, I'm sure I would have been foggy, dazed, like not as strategic. Anyway, I felt so good. I just kept on going and going and going. And I haven't drunk since 2010. And, 2015 is when I created a program, because so many people just kept asking me, is it true you don't drink? How do you have fun without drinking? Mm-hmm. But what do you do at the end of the day when you're tired and you're restless and you want to wind down? And so I guess I got tired of answering the questions 100 times. So I just produced this program named 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge. You can still see it now. It's at 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com. It's helped about 20,000 people reduce or quit drinking now. And that later transformed into Project 90, which now helps entrepreneurs, business owners to quit drinking. And what we found is that, well, for me, the moment I quit drinking was the moment I landed my dream job, was set forth on my entrepreneur's journey, got the body that nature intended me to have, slept the way nature intended me to have, and life is just so much better without alcohol. And then for the members of Project 90, we've had people now who've generated $250,000 more in a quarter, like just in 90 days.
Sure.
Because they strategically did another deal, or they made another sales call, or they created a different revenue stream because they had clarity and focus, versus when they were drinking and they were like, I'm going to phone it in. I'm too tired or lethargic.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people whose marriages have been saved just because they've got alcohol out of their life. And by the way, you don't have to be an alcoholic in order for you to get profound transformation in your life by just removing alcohol. Even if you're just a moderate drinker, you get rid of it, your health, wealth, love, and happiness just transform.
Interesting. So why is that, do you think? Is it the alcohol? Is it the lifestyle that goes along with it? What do you see across those trends of business owners that you work with?
Well, alcohol is a toxin. It's a poison, right? It's attractively packaged poison.
Sure.
So we need to start with that understanding, okay? The World Health Organization says there is zero amount of alcohol that has any nutritional benefit to you. The American Cancer Association just 3 months ago advised people to literally have zero amount of alcohol, because even just one glass a day has been linked to cancer, obesity, poor sleep, all of those kind of nastiness. Yet society has tricked us into believing that it is something fun and desirable and pleasurable and something to strive for, right? So when you remove that attractively packaged poison from your life, when you remove the toxins from your body, what happens is that you suddenly sleep better, which means you wake up just a little bit more energetic, which means you wake up just a little bit more clearer, which means you wake up just a little bit more productive, which means you wake up just a little bit more motivated and inspired, just a little bit, right? And those things combined add up to, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to say sorry. I'm going to say I love you. I'm going to say enough.
Sure.
I'm going to start another project. I'm going to partner with this person. You know what? Let me just make one more call today. And all of a sudden, that domino effect, one domino is quitting alcohol, and it pops over this cascade of other dominoes of healthy habits and healthy actions, and actions that result in my case, millions of dollars, and in other people's cases, millions of dollars, health, wealth, love, happiness.
It's such a big mindset for people to get over. Or what are some tips if someone was thinking about maybe giving it a go how do people get the ball rolling and get over that mindset of it's just one or two drinks, or how am I supposed to go out to dinner and not have a glass of wine? People are going to think I'm weird. How do you get over those mindsets?
Well, you don't want a glass of wine to socialize. You just want to socialize.
Right.
And you can do that without alcohol. You don't really want a glass of alcohol to reduce your stress and anxiety at the end of the day. You just want to reduce your stress and anxiety at the end of the day. And the mechanism for that, there is 1,000,001 other healthier ways than drinking attractively packaged poison. In terms of the social pressures, the way in which you share with people that you're not drinking is far more important than the words you actually say to explain why you're not. Let me just come back to that in a second. Here's just a side point. Alcohol is the only drug on the planet where you have to justify not consuming it.
Right.
It's the only alcohol on the planet where you have to give a detailed explanation as to why you're not consuming it. Yet alcohol is responsible for 3 times as many deaths as all other drugs combined.
It's a drug, yep.
Okay? In terms of the social pressure, the way in which you say, I'm not drinking or I'm alcohol-free is far more important than you just saying, I'm not drinking, I'm alcohol-free. If you go, I'm not drinking at the moment, it feels pretty good actually. I'm doing this like 90-day thing. And I'm noticing I'm sleeping better and stuff. Yeah, I'm just going to drink sparkling water tonight. That's powerful, as opposed to, I wish I could drink, but I can't. I'm doing this 90-day thing. Sorry. I know you want to have fun. So in that scenario, you're telling yourself and you're telling your company that you're with that alcohol consumption is fun and that you're the killjoy, and that under normal circumstances, you would just do what everyone does, which is enjoy alcohol. But I think it's the wrong way around. I know it's the wrong way around. It's like, no, outstanding health and clarity and focus and energy and being present and drinking sparkling water, that's the gift. That's the fun. That's where the juice is.
Mm-hmm.
So if your body language, like 93% of all persuasion is body language, 93%. It's tonality, posture, how you say something. It's only 7% the words you say.
Sure.
So with that 93%, just be fun, confident, lighthearted, have a grin on your face, make fun of yourself for not drinking if you want. Just be like Fonzie. Be cool about it with a smile on your face. And people drop it.
Yeah, it's that absolutely resonates with me. I was sober by choice for 5 years, from 18 to 25, and for personal and spiritual reasons. And you're absolutely right. The way you talk about it, it's the tools that we're equipped with. I found I was having heaps more fun than my mates who were passing out in gutters and waking up with peas and carrots all over their shirt the next morning and not remembering what STDs they caught. It's a totally different world. But that's really interesting. So if people wanted to learn more around Project 90, getting off alcohol for performance as an entrepreneur, or the glasses, the Swannies, the sleep science and hygiene, how can people connect with you, check out more about what you do, and get in touch?
Yeah, you can go to jamesswanwick.com. My last name is spelled Swanwick, so it's spelled Swanwick, but it's pronounced Swanwick. So jamesswanwick.com or jamesswanwick.com/project90 if you'd like to learn more about Project 90. We can help you to quit alcohol for at least 90 consecutive days and potentially get it out of your life for good if you choose. And then Swanwick Sleep, SWANWICK Sleep. SwanwickSleep.com is where you can get a pair of Swannies, or you can get them on Amazon. If you just type in Swannies, SWANNIES, or Swanwick Sleep, they'll come up. We've been the kind of known as the OGs of blue blockers these days, the original gangsters. We've been around since 2015, and if you wear prescription glasses, we can make prescription glasses for you, and we've got kids' glasses. If you have kids and they're staring at iPads, you can get kids' Swannies, and there's men's and women's and stylish pairs. So, yeah, or just send me a message on Instagram. I'm at James Swanwick.
Fascinating Instagram to follow, folks. Definitely get on that one, and we'll make sure we link up any of those social handles and URLs over at clinicmastery.com/podcast for all of those links and any of the show notes. It's been an absolute pleasure. My mind is blown and I've learnt plenty. So James Swanwick, thank you for joining us on the Grow Your Clinic podcast.
Jack, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your excellent questions and thank you for all of the health and wellness expertise you put out into the world. Thank you, sir.
Our pleasure. And listeners, thank you for joining us. As always, make sure you head over to clinicmastery.com/podcast. Connect with James and Swanwick Sleep and Project 90. And I can't wait to bring you another episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast again really soon. But bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. To find out more about past episodes or how we can help you, head to www.clinicmastery.com/podcast. And please remember to rate and review us on your podcast player of choice. See you on the next episode.